How's it going? The FB.
All right. All right. Well, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everybody out there. It's been
What-
a
what-
little.
What platforms can we check?
Oh, we're on Facebook. We are on X, Rumble, and
Okay. All right, it's showing up. That's good.
on YouTube. Yep, I think we're good this morning. We haven't
Well-
said anything that'll get us kicked off yet.
What platform?
Uh-oh. All right.
No, not yet. I think we're good. I think we are up and running.
Will you do me a favor and just check your mic and see which microphone your sound is coming from? If you click on the settings, just make sure it's coming from your headset and not that camera. I'm just making sure. All right, everybody. We are just getting dialed in this morning. Happy Monday. You know, Mondays are my favorite day of the week. They're filled with so much potential. I don't think that "fold" is actually a word now that I'm thinking about it, but they are full of tons of potential. I want to ask everybody right now to start hitting the share button. Share it out if you're on X, if you're watching on YouTube, on Facebook, wherever you're at, let us know where you're at and start sharing out. We are going to bring some really incredible information to you guys today. Dr. Judy Mikovitz is going to be joining us shortly. And then, of course, Victor Avila from the southern border. The cartel wars have begun here in America. And so we want you guys to know what you're watching for and how to secure and protect yourselves. It's going to be crazy. We have a special invitation for you guys. And maybe let's just, while everybody's kind of jumping in, please feel free to comment. Tell us where you're from, what you've got going on. It's been a minute since the Mister and I were here, and you may not even recognize him today. He's incognito. He's testing out those masks, you know, those ones that look human. And you wouldn't even know. Yeah, you wouldn't even know if it's him or maybe it's someone else. Can you guys believe it? I mean, what a difference, right? I'm just going to share really quick because I need to show you guys the Mister before and the Mister after.
Maybe let's not. How about no?
How about no? One thing about these lights and all of this is my eyeballs are fading fast. My vision has really impaired since doing all this with these bright lights and all this stuff. So I don't actually wear glasses, but I'm going to wear these today because it's painful.
So you need to know this, and so do other people, that you can actually do eye exercises. So our eyes aren't made to scroll on blue light and to scroll on all these, these negative EMFs that we're getting from our phones and all that. So our eyes are going up and down and up and down and up and down. So when you do eye exercises, so you're good at this actually, the eye roll. You can do eye rolls, and you're really good at that anyway. You do eye rolls, and then also, there's other eye exercises we talk about, but also pearl powder. And so I mix a little bit of pearl powder with castor oil and make a little paste out of it. And I put it all around my eyes, because your eyes, they need moisture, and pearl powder has been shown to moisturize and replenish your eyes. So I refuse to wear reading glasses. Sometimes I wear the blue light glasses, but I refuse to wear reading glasses because I think a lot of the reason why our eyesight goes bad is because we start seeing blurry, and then we go get glasses, and our eyes get tired and more weakened because we get glasses. We have to get thicker glasses, and we stop exercising them. You can actually massage your eyes. So I've always had perfect, really, really good vision. But then as of late, and I think it's just from so much time on the laptop and phone, I'm starting to get a little bit blurred out. So I'm doing things. I'm taking measures now to try to replenish my eyes.
Well, my understanding, babe, actually is that the CIA knew that blue light was bad for the brain, bad for the receptors, and that's why we have blue light rather than a red backlight. So I thought that was really interesting. That's like there's a whole science, a whole study backed behind that nothing's built for our optimal, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Anything the government has its hand in, of course, is not built for our optimum. And that includes computers. But I want to share this with you guys before our guests come on tonight. We have a special invitation for all of you guys this evening. It is, oh, wait, that's the wrong one. Hang on. That's today over on Twitter. Make sure you're following us over on Twitter. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Let me try this again. If I could just pull it together, that would be great. I'm very, very, very excited about Dr. Mikovitz being with us today, I have to say. And it definitely has me a little bit like, what am I doing? It is so exciting to have her on today. She's going to dispel a lot of these questions about long haul COVID and what is happening to people. So I'm very excited that we're going to be bringing some great information to you guys. Let me see if I can get this up or not. Hang on just a second. Sorry.
And I'll tell you that people can go to defundthedeepstate.com and register for our Zoom tonight. Defundthedeepstate.com, register for our Zoom. This is our insider Zoom, kind of our Patriot Zoom, where we talk about current events briefly. We talk about our American manufacturer that we use and love, and we want to have you guys out.
Oh, I just figured out how to do it.
Defundthedeepstate.com.
Yes. I don't know how to enlarge it. Oh, how about I just do that? We'll just do that. Okay. Let me just share this with you guys. I just want you to have a little snapshot so you can see it yourself. This is happening tonight. We want all of you guys to join us. So we've been building our parallel economy. We've been talking to you guys about that. This is so important. So important. So we'll put that in the chat where you're going to go to register for tonight. We are turning things upside down. You guys have all been watching or not watching the Olympics. I love the gaslighting. What do you think about the gaslighting that's going on there? Oh, that wasn't the Last Supper. You just don't know Greek mythology. I've got to tell you, I saw a couple friends post that up, and I just want to tell you, just go ahead and hit that delete button, because you're not going to convince billions of people. The Olympic committee themselves just pulled the entire video of the opening from their website, because we all know this was gaslighting Christians, them trying to tell us that this is not exactly what it appears to be, including the throuple. As soon as the entrance started, you've got, it's so disgusting, hypersexualized. It's more of the woke nonsense. And so for those of you who are trying to justify it and say you just don't know Greek mythology, you need to sit down. Just hit the delete button, because I'd like to stay friends with you if we can. If it's possible, we'd like to do that. So our mission right now, of course, is we are taking back our economy away from these woke organizations, woke companies that continue to push sexualization down our throats and try to make us embrace all this stuff, and then turn around and gaslight us and tell us that what we're watching is actually a demonstration of love towards children. Helping them mutilate themselves is actually love. Helping them hate themselves more and giving them hormone therapy at 9 years old is actually love. You just don't know what it is. So we're really tired of it. We are creating our own parallel economy. We want you all to join us tonight. Can you tell us again where they need to go to register? I think it's going to be in the comments also, but where do they go to register again?
Defundthedeepstate.com.
All right, you guys, we want to see all of you joining us tonight. Share it out with others. It's time to take back our market shares, not only from the CCP, but from all this woke nonsense. And then I think you have a couple headlines for us before Dr. Judy joins us. Do you have a few things that we need to see this morning?
Yeah, I think it's important to think about a couple things that are going on, but the Olympic stuff is one of them. You know what it's come down to for me? It boils down to that there is a war on women. And there's been a war on women for a long time in our culture. So if we want to talk about culture, because everybody's like, oh, this is French culture, or this is the culture of Europe, or whatever. I'm like, no, it's actually satanic culture. And if you want to be cultured in Satanism, go ahead and do your satanic culture thing. I mean, you can do it all over the internet if you want to. You can paint yourself blue, show your private parts, get naked on the internet, be a transvestite, be a trans whatever, and LGBTQ plus it, which, by the way, the plus in the LGBTQ stands for PEDO. PEDO. We're going to try to be more careful about some of the things we say, because there is an algorithm, and we're going to get highly censored, as we always do. So, but it really boils down, you guys, to a war on women. And Jason Christoff points this out in his kind of his analysis of the psychology of what's going on in our modern day. But this started with the CIA operation known as feminism. When the CIA, it's actually been proven now, the CIA started that, they started this movement called feminism, and they did it for a number of reasons, but one of them was to mix these roles again between men and women. One of the big reasons was to get women in a job, working 8 to 5, because that's like they're going to double the taxpayers. They're going to get people into the slave system, working in a cubicle, and it's not just men going to work now and paying into the tax system. It's also the women. So there were a lot of reasons of doing it, but of course, we know the head of the snake, and we know that all these things are against what's natural, neutral, and normal. And we know that it's trying to confuse the world and confuse us into not understanding our God-given purpose, our God-given roles. There's been a huge war on women. We're seeing this reach its pinnacle now. So it's not just getting women to get outside of their God-given giftedness and roles. It's also to get men in women's bathrooms. It's also to get men and women's sports. So now we're seeing a takeover of, girls can't feel safe in the bathroom anymore because there's going to be boys and men coming in there. And we were screaming about this years ago. There's going to be molestations. There's going to be problems. And people are like, oh no, you're just being judgmental and there's no evidence behind that and all these things. No, for sure. Here we go. And now we're getting men into women's sports, which this has been going on for longer than people think. It's just been incognito. Now they're just doing it. And so I think the Olympics are like, it's almost like we're reaching a pinnacle. We're reaching this point where they are exposing themselves in a very literal sense, but also it's called revelation of method. They're exposing their method to us, and they're saying, we're going to put it right in your face, and what are you going to do about it? Like, we're not going to go incognito anymore. This is no longer a clandestine operation. This is just out in the open. It's in your face. Yes, we don't like God-given roles. We don't like the whole gender, black and white thinking and all that. We want people to be Baphomets or not even know what they are. We're going to inject people in the womb. A lot of these elites have their babies in the womb injected with the opposite hormone as to what they biologically are. So even these young actors and actresses.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You were just going to gloss right over that. Say that again. While they are in the womb?
Yeah. So, and you can look this up. They've been doing it for a long, long time. So let's say you go in at 8 weeks, you do a blood test, and it comes back that you're having a boy. So some of these, especially the elites, but this has been going on for a while. It can happen very, very rarely. It can happen occasionally. There's a scientific term for it, and I can't remember what it is right off the top of my head. But it can happen where there's a flood of, let's say, estrogen that floods the womb, floods this baby's bloodstream as he is forming. This can cause a lot of dysphoria, and it can cause a lot of issues and cause a biological male baby to be born in more of with female attributes. Now that it's very, very rare that happens naturally, but it can happen based on diet and other things. But what's happening now is, especially amongst the elites, one of the things they're doing is they're purposely injecting, let's just use this as an example, a biological 8-week-old in the womb. They're injecting this biological 8-week-old male in the womb with an overflow of estrogen. And what it does is it confuses the natural God-given process of a baby's gender being developed in the womb. So a biological boy might be born with biological parts of a boy, but it could have the anatomy also mixed in there with him of a female, or of an overload of estrogen. And so very, very confused. And actually, I kind of feel for some of these young actresses and actors and people we see in pop culture, because I honestly believe that a lot of them don't even really know what they are, because this started in the womb before they were born. And then once they're out of the womb, this method continues. of confusing their gender. And a lot of these people, and in my opinion, like the Lady Gagas and others, they truly are, they become Baphomets where they don't really know. It's a satanic, it's an up down, it's a mixture of genders and things that, God has given us black and white truth, where we take it and we mix it all together. And so some of them don't even know what they are. But Lady Gaga, very likely, like as an example, was born a biological male, but has throughout a certain process become, if you will, become female and all this kind of stuff. And so it's a war on all of us. Yeah, certainly there's a war on men, but there's really a war on women because if they can mix together these sexes, mix together and confuse roles, and then dumb men down to where they would rather play on the Xbox than to fight for women, which is what's happened. I mean, men have been flooded with estrogen in vaccines. They've been flooded with estrogen in water. Men have been flooded with pornography. They've been flooded with cultural, commercials and things on the internet to where we're supposed to be more effeminate. And so they've feminized men to a degree where we're not going to fight for women anymore. So that's why you see men going into public restrooms of women. And who is it confronting them? Probably 90% of the time, it's the women confronting the men. The men don't want to, get involved, and they don't want to pick up.
It's true. Yeah. It's absolutely true. It's all these women making videos. I will say though, one of the things I did take a lot of comfort in the video of the little girl that started screaming when she entered into a single stall bathroom. The door was lockable behind her. She's screaming. Some man had followed her in, and like 4 or 5 men break that door down and hold that guy there until the police could come. And hopefully there was a little bit of community justice in there at the same time. But I absolutely agree. And a couple of years ago, I actually did a whole video on how much the left hates women. This was before everybody was screaming. It was 2019. And I was like, this is literally about how much they hate us. The Democrats, these left-wing globalists, they hate women. And it's funny because under that, you were talking about the MK Ultra or the CIA project of feminism, the program of feminism. You know what we don't see is how many women were actively, vocally protesting feminism. They were saying, nope, we don't want it. We're not looking for equal rights. Honestly, the freedom to be able to, like you said, be there for your family, work from home, not contribute to the system, but continue to the production and protection of the family. The stats are just not in the favor of feminism. They're just not. When you look at basically the wrecked homes, the damage left behind that concept, it's not empowering at all. I see, in the business I've been in for years and years, all women do is cry about, and I mean this respectfully, they cry about how they can stay home, how they can be there for their kids. And then with 33% inflation now under this administration, you still have to be able to make a buck somehow. So, I mean, they tricked women. But I think what I'm figuring out, tell me if you think this is accurate, as we've discovered, they try to say that it's a majority of people that feel this way, right? That want transgender surgeries for kids, that want women out in the workforce, that want everybody, jab, lipsticked and triple lipsticked, that everybody feels this way. And then we come to find out that's not even true, only a small percentage. What's happening right now with the Olympics, where they literally had to walk back their stupid introductions, their wokeism, and they're being forced to do that because the majority is against what they're doing, but they're still going to try to gaslight us and say, oh, well, the majority was for it. Everybody wanted this. Everybody, that's what they keep doing to us. So whether it's feminism or it's mandatory lipsticks, which we're going to use that word from now on rather than, because we're, it helps a little bit. And whether it's mutilation of minors, they try to tell us this is what everybody wants, but we know that that's not true. In fact, we're watching the, I'm sure people are aware of the group Gays Against Grooming, and more gays and lesbians are joining that group to their target. They're saying, we do not stand with any of the other letters. None of it. We are not for any of it. Stop putting us in that category. Stop saying we, the majority, feel this way, that children should be subjected to hormones and sexualizing and grooming, and then, of course, castration. and mutilation. So I just keep that in mind when they're saying the majority feels this way. You just have to know I don't think that's true. It's not true. It is the exact opposite. But they seem to have the authority.
And they're creating a trauma-based reaction in this culture. It's mostly by conservatives and Christians, that we're going from one conspiracy to the next, one to the next, to the next, to the next. Trauma, trauma, trauma. It's happening right before our eyes. So this is full circle coming back to what happened at the Olympics. It didn't surprise the powers that be that it enraged conservatives and Christians, and really the average person. It didn't surprise them that it enraged us. They weren't like, oh, wow, they're really mad and we're losing viewership. We better pull back. These things are planned and calculated. And they're doing it I think one of the reasons they're doing it is to cause trauma in our brains, because most of us are not doing anything about this. We get mad. We see news articles. We get up in the morning and we see the latest, family that was slaughtered by the husband and killed himself, or we see the latest, trauma-based this or that, and then we see the latest LGBTQ plus, and then you know what happened when everybody was enraged about the Olympics. You have this fake, whatever this Kamala being or entity is that's running for president, supposedly, get on and say, oh, this was so beautiful and this was so amazing. We need America to be more like this. Right. Do you think that this entity actually believes that? Likely not. What they're doing is they're causing the rage culture to continue, and it's really causing us to. It's causing trauma in our brains. It's a trauma-based culture where we look at it as Christians. We get angry, 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 then we move on to the next thing. We realize, well, there's nothing I can do about it, so then we put it out of our minds and we move on to the next thing. Every day it's anger, it's trauma, it's rage. And what I'm trying to do, and hopefully we can help others do, is to not react anymore to what's happening. We've got to stop reacting to it. We can talk about this more later as well, but really, to me, it's like, think about exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to make you angry and mad. Then they're going to gaslight you and say, oh, you're so judgmental. Then they're going to say things like, well, it's just cultural. Then they're going to lose viewership, which they already knew, and then they're going to pull back. And now we're going to see patriotism displayed on, in the Olympics. We're going to see the national anthem. We're going to see the flag, and it's going to woo the conservatives and the Christians back in. And then they're going to do it again, and it's going to be trauma. Then there's going to be some trans person in the Olympics. There's going to be trans men, trying to take over women's stuff. We're going to get mad and enraged. They're going to gaslight us. We're going to be mad. They're going to pull back. They're going to woo us back in. What we have to do is not play their game. And that's what I meant in the post that I did that really got a lot of interesting reactions about laughing at evil. We've got to learn to start laughing at it. And people were like, no, you don't take it lightly. You don't laugh at sin. That's not what I'm talking about. Laughing at it means you guys are idiots. We know what you're doing. I'm not going to react the way you want me to, with trauma and anger and rage, and get up in the morning and be bitter about what's going on in the Olympics or whatever. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to give in. I already know your tactics. And I'm going to try to retrain my brain to not be so trauma-based to all the things going on in the world, because what they're doing is they're creating apathy and hopelessness through all these things. It's revelation of method, you guys. What they've done in the past has been more secretive and clandestine. They've always been doing this stuff. It's not new. Things aren't necessarily getting worse in the world. It's just they're being revealed. It's being exposed. This is what we prayed for. We want them to expose themselves for who they are. But they want us to react with trauma and anger and rage. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to continue exposing what they're doing. And then if we can, we've got to find ways to actually take action and not just be angry and rage. Oh my goodness, this and that. Look at how horrible the world is. Look at what it's coming to. This is so awful. Well, yeah, we know that. But what can we do locally? What can we do from our computer? What can we do in our local meetings? How can we turn that anger and channel it into action? And that's really the important thing. How can we actually make a difference, not just get mad at all this stuff?
Well, And the reality is as you were talking, I was sharing, I'll just share that again, because the reality is this same people that are telling us that what we don't see with our own eyes is happening are also the same people that were just burning their own country down just a few short months ago. The famous picture of the couple sitting and drinking a glass of wine while everything's burning behind them in largely peaceful protests. This is France. This is what's been going on there. You've got Macron, who's married to a transgender. Brigitte Macron is a dude. And Macron himself is Emmanuel Macron is a homosexual. And they can, try to hide and conceal all this as much as they want. But what we're seeing from the Olympics and all of this, as you said, this is who they are. And I appreciate the laughing thing, because otherwise it becomes and actually I'm just going to show you guys Brigitte again, just to remind you of what's been going on with this person. But we have to laugh, otherwise get mad. And you guys remember in Monsters, Inc., where it was the fear, it was the screaming and the fear and the hollering that was fueling the monsters. But then what did they discover? That laughter had higher value. It actually had a higher frequency, and it fueled everything better, which I think is interesting. So I know there's all kind of side stories about that, but I do believe that that's a reality. So while we're waiting for Dr. Judy to get in, let me just share this with you guys real quick. Again, this is France. This is what's going on with them. This is Brigitte Macron, the dude, who, by the way, while we're talking about it, was like 36 years old, 38 years old, and was grooming Emmanuel at 15 years old. 15, grooming this guy. And of course, the parents were rightfully upset. And supposedly they waited till he turned 18, and then their love just couldn't contain it anymore. And Brigitte was 40 years old or more. We're not quite confident on her age, actually. And, married the 18-year-old or 22, I think, or however old he was when they finally married. But they've been together all this time. And the Emmanuel Macron has been involved in several scandals with other men. And just so you know, and Brigitte is a dude. So it's exciting over there in France for sure.
Yeah. And I think one of the ways that we can help it, I think one of the ways that we can actually make a difference is just exposing this stuff. I mean, because it's like, they're revealing their methods. They're showing us what they're doing, and they're saying, what are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. Like we're reaching a time where we really here, where it's like there's something it has to give, and they're saying we're winning because we put in a fake president, we installed a fake president, and now we're uninstalling him, and now we're going to install another fake president. What are you going to do about it? Like, it's not hidden anymore. But under the Bushes and the Clintons, things were just way more in the dark. We couldn't see what's going on. The worst we thought that was happening was Clinton was having some affairs with interns, and that's kind of like, yeah, I mean, that's bad. That's bad, and it shouldn't happen. But if that were the worst of it, we'd actually be in really good shape right now. People have no idea how many previous presidents had hidden homosexual lifestyles and all that kind of like crazy stuff's been going on, immoral things. And then with all the wars like that Obama put us through, and the drones and things like that, we didn't know there was mass murders going on. Now it's being exposed, and it's like, well, what are we going to do? And so I appreciate folks like Candace Owens and others who are really, and even Tucker, putting themselves out there they have millions of subscribers, their audience is huge, and they're starting to just simply reveal what's happening. I'm not enraged by it. I think I've already crossed that bridge. I'm just thankful it's being exposed. And with that exposure comes like energy, I think, of people going, yes, this is happening. Here's what's going on, and it's time to reveal it. And I think if we can collectively get together, we can do something about it. I really believe that.
What do you guys think? I mean, when you see what's going on, do you feel more inclined to, get public about what's happening internationally, or does it motivate you to look in your local backyard? We have libraries that are still hosting drag queen story hour and exposing little children to this deviancy. We have, and that means that library boards are approving this, and library boards are funded by your local county commissioner money, which is your taxpayer dollars. Yeah. And your city dollars, your taxpayer dollars from the city and the county commissioners is going to woke organizations like the Public Library, the American Library Association. And that needs to change. I mean, you have a lot that happens in your own backyard that I'm hoping you're feeling compelled to be examining that and clean house locally, because this kind of stuff can just trip you up so bad and make you feel that you can't do anything, you can't accomplish anything. I do want to let you guys know Dr. Mikovitz is going to be joining us in a minute. She's having a little bit of trouble logging into StreamYard, so we'll just give her just a minute. But I like what you said, especially too, because laughter takes the edge away. That's why we've talked so much about comedians and how necessary they are when they're not being filthy, by the way. But how necessary they are to help us. Or memes, the meme war. People will say, "What's with the meme? Who cares about the meme?" No, the meme war bolsters.
It's important.
It's so important. I honestly wouldn't have believed it, really, until we were right in the middle of it. And then I'm like, okay, if you get too angry, you see red, and actually your brain stops working right. Yeah. Your brain doesn't work right. You're not thinking right. And then that's when people do stupid stuff. We don't need to do that. We already proved, the conservatives of America already proved, we're not going to go burn businesses down and destroy property because we didn't get our way. You know, we don't do that stuff. What do? We buckle down and we start businesses. We homeschool our kids. We start finding solutions locally. We start growing our own food. There's so many things that people are doing right now. We start researching lipsticks and stop giving them to our kids. And actually, while we're waiting for Dr. Mikovitz, because I know she's going to talk about this a little bit, it's almost school time. And a lot of people are putting their kids back in school. This is another source of empowerment for all of you guys. And it's necessary. You all know that you do not have to lipstick your kids in order to send them back to public school. You all know that, right?
And I'll everybody knows that really quick too. You have to know your rights, and it'll be like Texas state law or Colorado state law that says, oh, you have to be updated on your vaccinations for your kids to be in school, and that's just not correct. They cannot tell you to do that. There's always opt-outs, always. And so, I mean, if it came down to where it was actually mandatory, you just wouldn't put your kids in school. But absolutely don't expose your kids to that. Now, there is a 2-minute video that I could play real quick. I don't know if we have.
Yeah. Go for it. She's having a hard time getting in, so we may just have to jump to Victor once he logs in. But that's okay. She's going to keep trying. So go ahead.
I'm going to try to share it. I'm just not sure if I can do that from here or not.
I couldn't agree more, David. It is the combat rifle of the info war. And so I agree with you.
Well, I don't know if I can share it from here.
You should be able to.
We're in StreamYard. I don't see a share. I don't see a share screen button.
It's the it says something different. It says down there at the bottom. It's the
present.
Yeah. I know everything just gets so difficult when we're switching gears, and we're kind of working out all the kinks today because we haven't been live in so long.
Are you ready?
Yes, go for it, please.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear it?
No, I don't hear anything. No. Maybe it won't work. Sorry, our schedule's getting a little goofed up with Dr. Judy being a little bit late getting on here.
Well, I tried.
Well, you know what? That's all right, because we have so much more to talk about. And actually, I'm going to do a quick little commercial because we have just a minute. So let's do that. We're going to do a little commercial. Okay, guys? I want to ask all of you, unless if you want to do the commercial, I'm going to do the commercial. I'll do the commercial.
Do it.
All right. We have great sponsors on America's Mom and the Mister. We're going to be here with you guys Mondays and Wednesdays at 11 o'clock Central Time. 12 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock for all you Pacific folks out there who don't get up until way late. We're going to be here Monday and Wednesdays. And so, again, we are committed to doing and bringing information to you as we have always been doing since the day we started America's Mom, reading legislature literally right here on Facebook. And so here's what I want to ask you. You know, when you think about where is your power, what can you do? What if a bunch of us little guys decided we were going to band together, you guys? We've done it before. We did it with Bud Light. We've done it with Woke Walmart. We've done it with Tranny Target. We did it with Carhartt. Remember Carhartt tried to go woke? Mm-hmm. I remember Tractor Supply tried to go woke. They had to walk that back just a couple weeks ago. What if we joined together and we seriously canceled these woke companies? We know what that looks like, okay? These companies lose millions of dollars when you and I say no and we vote with our dollars, if not billions. Can you imagine that? So what if we banded together? We know that we're a force to be reckoned with. Every time we do it, they have to acquiesce to us. Now, my problem is we keep going back to them. So I want to give you a solution where you don't have to return like a dog to its vomit. I have a lot of people who ask me, what can I really do to help that would make a difference? And here's the thing. We have to stop shopping at these woke companies. We have to stop. We need an alternative of where to shop. Well, that's what I want to tell you about. This is something we can all do right now to kick the deep state right in the teeth, stop funding our enemies, and vote with our dollars, you guys. We have the parallel economy that offers you 450 household products. Not only can you cancel woke brands like Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, and Unilever. You guys, those are all like the, three heads of the same snake. They're disgusting. You can also cancel the stores that are carrying them. We have access to a conservative American-made manufacturer that will replace these brands and the stores that you buy from them. It isn't an additional budget item. You're just switching from Target. Excuse me. How about I read my script? Instead of turning right into Target, you're going to turn or left into Walmart. You're just going to shop right here online. You're going to shop directly with the American manufacturer. This is an underground patriot movement that we're inviting you into. It's happening right now. In fact, every 47 seconds in the US and Canada, a shopper is switching to our online American-made patriotic store. And we need you to partner with us right now, and let's band together. So, guys, did I mention we have beef? We have beef. That's right. Clean USA grown, never, ever, ever mRNA, growth hormones, or antibiotics ever. Truly the best beef that you have ever had at a price you can afford. So I want everybody who's listening right now, go to mylibertybox.com/mom and join our mission today. Join our effort today, because this is where we really start making the biggest impact to take our country back. And quite frankly, in good conscience anymore, how can we keep going back to the same places that have proven they are not loyal to the vision of America? 90% of those products, you guys, that you're getting from those stores are made in CCP China. 90%. And they're not supporting America.
Yeah, it's almost confusing to me why more people don't join. Just makes sense. So what we do is each month we do all of our shopping through this American patriotic manufacturer first. There are things that we just can't get from them yet. So then we do the rest of our shopping where we need to at the grocery store or wherever, but we want to buy America first. And this is the only company that can scale to this massive size to compete with companies like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Unilever. They can compete with the BlackRock-owned and BlackRock-controlled Chinese companies and products that contain fentanyl. And who the heck knows what else? Like 90% of what we see in grocery stores anymore isn't even food. I don't know what exactly it is, but it's not food. And so anyway, yeah, it's mylibertybox.com/mom. And then also you guys can join us tonight. We'll be talking more about this tonight. You go register for our Zoom. You can join us. We like to have small, more intimate Zooms where we're kind of talking with each other and talking about current events and introducing you guys to our American manufacturer. And that is at defundthedeepstate.com. You can register there at defundthedeepstate.com.
Okay, so before we bring our guest in, I've got to share this video with you guys because this is crazy. All right. So I don't know how many of you guys were like mafia gangster movie watchers. We absolutely were. I think Neil kind of introduced me, and then I was kind of hooked. I've listened to all the gangsters, Sammy the Bull. I've listened to his podcast now. Like all these guys have podcasts now. And they used to, run the streets, rule the cities, really. And really, the only reason they got taken down is because the government was sick of competing with them. Haha. The government is full of a bunch of gangsters. That's what's going on here. We've watched it. Kash Patel has a great book out, Government Gangsters. It's true. They operate as gangsters. But what I never suspected or expected ever was to see the cartel gangsters here in America fighting in our country. And that's exactly what's going on. I want to share this with you guys because it's just a crazy, wild story, something I actually did not think we would ever see. But here it is. This is what's going on. So take a listen.
At SimpliSafe, your safety is the only thing that matters. Introducing 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. The technology allows SimpliSafe agents to help stop.
We're not promoting SimpliSafe.
Speaking through the smart alarm indoor camera.
Stop. See, everybody has to do commercial breaks.
Police are on their way.
For instant.
Everybody has to do commercial breaks, don't they? So hang on just one sec. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that was going to happen. Hang on. Stay with me. Stay with me. And here we go.
The alleged co-founder of the Sinaloa Cartel now says his client neither surrendered nor negotiated any terms with the U.S. government, but was instead, listen to this, kidnapped. I spoke earlier on the phone with Frank Perez, Zambada's attorney. He told me his 76-year-old client was kidnapped by Joaquin Guzman Lopez, son of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, the other co-founder of the Sinaloa Cartel. Joaquin Guzman Lopez, he said, forcibly kidnapped my client. He was ambushed, thrown to the ground, and handcuffed by 6 men in military uniforms. And Joaquin, his legs were tied and a black bag was placed over his head, Perez said in a statement sent to CNN.
All right. Joining us to talk more about this is Victor Avila, because this is insane. First of all, trying to gather sympathy for the head of the Sinaloa Cartel is hilarious. Victor, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us what we just don't get here, because we're not a really savvy attorney like Frank there.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because all of a sudden they want to humanize these animals that have that are responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of Americans through their poisonous fentanyl that have trafficked into our country, and the human trafficking that they're also involved with too in the last several years. So they're not going to get any sympathy from me, but this is a very natural claim by Mexican authorities and their lawyer. This is the U.S. government is sometimes does these, we call them a ruse. I did a couple of these in my career as well. When you have a very difficult time trying to get a person that is wanted on U.S. soil, and you just can't get them from Mexico because obviously the Mexican authorities are not cooperating with you. Now, you have seen many other times and instances where you do get a lot of other criminals and fugitives, and we see them extradited all the time, including in our own case of the shooting.
Yes.
But that's because we have the cooperation of the Mexican authorities. And for, obviously this is a high level capo drug lord that has been evading capture for, over 30 years. And so that was never going to happen. And so you have to go through these kind of ruses to bring them on U.S. soil.
My favorite part, Victor, is when they say that he's just a rancher, just a real rancher, the head of the Sinaloa Cartel. And just for those who are listening, what are some of the things that the Sinaloa Cartel has been responsible for, both on U.S. soil and in Mexico? What are we really talking about here?
My goodness. So, everybody thinks about the drugs, obviously, but don't forget about the money laundering and the economic impact that it has on our country. The money that is illicit money that is generated by this cartel alone, and it's not just in the U.S. in 40 to 50 countries abroad, has a significant impact on the world banking system. Yes, that's how much money is infiltrated here, especially along a lot of the banks along the border. And so this is a huge, significant impact. The impact they have on local crime, you're never going to see people report that, Sharona, where these people, they call it, gang crime or whatever they'll put it, but they'll never associate it back to cartel crime, which it is, because it's their product, it's their institutions that are delivering this poison.
So I'm curious, how much safer is the border today then, Victor? There was so much drama happening just before the weekend on the southern border. And just explain to the people who are watching right now, to the relationship between the president, the newly elected president, first female president, communist, of course, but first female president, and her relationship with the cartels. Why is it that there's these wars beginning, and what is the nature of between like El Chapo's gang and the Sinaloa cartel? What is happening there?
Well, there's a lot of disruption right now, and to answer your question first, are we any safer? No. The indicators are, the reports are that Elmayo Zambada, the one that was arrested, his nephew, they nicknamed El Flaco, or the thin one, the skinny one, if you will, has taken over operations immediately. So that's just going to continue. But it does cause major disruption amongst these organizations. We use the word cartel a lot, but I want you to think of them as major corporations. And so if a CEO, let's think of Jeff Bezos and think of Amazon. If Jeff Bezos was arrested for any big significant charge, what would happen with Amazon? Something would happen. Operations wouldn't stop. You still get your delivery at your package the next day, but there'll be a shakeup, right? There would be a lot of layoffs, or something would happen. There would be an investigation. Well, the same thing here with the Sinaloa cartel, except the layoffs over there on that side equals death and torture. But there is a bigger implications on the political side. As you mentioned, the new president of Mexico, there's a rumor, and I haven't been able to substantiate, but a lot of my sources are telling me that on the Mexican side, they possibly wanted this to happen, and they wanted the Cartel Jalisco New Generation to kind of take over, and the Mexican government possibly set this up as well to take down the Sinaloa cartel. Why? We don't know. Is the new president aligned with the Cartel Jalisco New Generation, which would make them even more powerful than they are today?
It's really upsetting to think about how open our borders are. There's no more security today than there was yesterday. The Democrats are running around saying, thank you, Biden, for your securing of the border. These are largely governors of states that are already sanctuary states, where they already, not only do they have illegals flooding into their states, but they fund them, house them, give them it looks like a normal driver's license to me. And then also allow for, I'm not totally sure how you phrase this exactly, but they are, green papers, documentation that looks like they're there legally, looks like they might be citizens, but they're absolutely not. And my experience has been nobody's doing a darn thing about it. So they're flooding into our country. Okay. The Democrats are saying they're doing something about it. They're clearly not. They've supported open borders from day one. So what does that look like for the average American citizen now that we've added cartel wars to this? What can we expect to see happening in America?
I'll tell you, the number one person I'm not going to give credit to is that to Kamala Harris, because she's not the border czar, according to her. So she can't get credit for this arrest that happened under her watch. So if you can't have it both ways, you can't claim to not be the border czar and then take credit for this high level arrest. And so, what you're talking about here is there's a big impact here, because it is an election cycle. And remember, Mexico here let's not forget this, Mexico is helping the United States for the wrong reasons, not because of why you and I would want to see that cooperation, but because they want to help the Democrats stay in power. It behooves them, right? It benefits them rather than have Donald Trump, because everybody knows that, just like you and I know that the border would be secure under President Trump, they know that as well. And so that's why you see the numbers come down, and they're keeping people from coming in. Most of them are being smuggled now, and they're bringing them in through the port of entries, millions of them that are not counted. And to your point, giving them these permits, these paroles, all these documentation that is unconstitutionally and illegally given to them, that they are walking around our country thinking that they have some kind of status, which they don't, because it was illegally issued. And just yesterday, Sharona, in San Antonio, Texas, an illegal alien shot a female police officer from Venezuela. And so these guys are illegally here in our country. They have guns. They are criminals, and they're shooting at our police officers. In this case, we don't know if the police, when they returned fire, they killed him or he killed himself. I don't know. But these stories are going to continue, and you're going to hear them every single day. I just got back from New York yesterday, and it's a mess over there with the amount of crime. And so now they're commingling all this crime from U.S. citizens and illegal aliens, and they just kind of talk about it like if it's one group of people, and it's not. And it's very important to make sure that we separate it. I'll tell you who's not separating it. These sanctuary cities and these states, by the way, are not reporting these crimes accurately to the FBI in the Uniform Crime Report. That's why the Democrats, you hear them say, oh, we have the lowest level of violent crime ever in the country. Are you kidding me? My lying eyes are telling us something else. But why are the numbers skewed? Well, because they don't report it, especially if they're from illegal aliens.
Well, didn't we just see over the weekend that New York City, they were down there, all these people naturally, organically, not like Antifa and BLM and Hamas protests, but literally the citizens there in New York gathered together and were protesting the opening of yet another illegal immigrant facility. I mean,
yes, as a matter of fact, Asian Americans were protesting and saying, we've had enough. It's affecting their businesses. It's affecting, you see, it affects law-abiding citizens. It affects us that want to pay our taxes, want to follow law, that want to be part of our community. It's affecting us. It doesn't affect them because they're not only do whatever they want, and then they know that they're getting the backup by not just forget the Biden administration, they're getting the backup at the local DA level, knowing that they're going to be released or there's going to be a slap on the wrist for serious crimes. Sometimes they're released without any bond on their own recognizances. Nobody's really supervising them. There's no consequences whatsoever. And they know that. And so, especially Venezuela, you see all the unrest over there with the elections and the craziness. They wouldn't even let them vote in Venezuela, and so we have unrest in Venezuela. They have big relationships with Hezbollah and others. And guess where they're at? They're in Mexico, right next door to us, making their way into our country.
Well, I guess I should have known that you might bring up Venezuela because this is huge. Again, all their people are flooding here to our country, and they've released the worst of their society onto America. Last night, I mean, the voters were met with armed military who were preventing them from voting because the turnout was so massive, too big to rig, right? Was Venezuela the people's goal? And yet here we are. The president has declared himself the winner, even though everybody knows he's not. With that kind of situation happening there, the influx and flood, how many illegals do you think have truly come into the country in the last 3.5 years? How many do you think really and truly, what is the real numbers that we're looking at in voter truly will be the voter, gosh, I can't think of the word, replacement. Thank you for
replacement for sure. I definitely think we're over between the 15 and 18 million mark. That's when you're including the ones that we know about, the ones that turn themselves in, the gotaways, the unknown gotaways, terrorists. My goodness, we have so many different categories. When you start breaking it down, there's all these different types of people coming into the country, good ones, bad ones, in between, and all types with very different agendas, by the way. And we're over here acting like we have no idea what's going on, but we are the ones that have that control. We're the ones that are supposed to have that control from these countries to begin with. And you're going to see this big struggle when President Trump comes back in November, especially Venezuela. Mexico, we're going to be able to deal with them. That's not going to be the biggest issue. I think the bigger issue is going to be Turkey. It's going to be Venezuela. Obviously, the bigger ones, China and Iran. But don't underestimate Venezuela. They have really linked up, even with Mexico, by the way, and Cuba. And they're communist partners, and they are really they're smelling blood in the water right now. This is what they're seeing the United States at its weakest point ever, probably in the history of modern history of where we're at in this country, and they're wanting to take over. And there's no resistance on our end. You talk about the cartels. That's why the cartels act with impunity, because there's no resistance, none from the Mexican side, none from the U.S. side. No one's really doing anything to them. So you have these cartels, these countries, these operations really doing whatever they want at this point. And we really need to come here and put an end to this, and really abruptly at this point, with very different means, even the different means that from the ones that I used to do. And those investigative techniques are so outdated at this point that we need to go into different and new type of strategies to make a big impact and make it quickly.
The one thing that we're not talking a lot about with the influx of illegal aliens coming into this country and the culture that they bring with them, the biggest bat wins mentality, where we have law, we have order, we have a constitution that protects us, is how much people are changing their lives, changing their lifestyles. People not walking down the street anymore, children not being able to play in the parks anymore. All these adjustments that we're making to our lives to accommodate this massive illegal influx into our country. When you're down, you live on the border, you're down there by Eagle Pass, you get to see up close and personal. Are people, is that what you see and what you're witnessing every day? I mean, I know I see it where I'm at.
You are spot on. It has changed people's lives. And the irony here is the kind of, I was just in New York, and it's changed their lives over there as well. And so it's kind of, I was there for the weekend on some events, and I was talking to the people, and they have literally changed their routes, where they go, where they don't go, the same way that they do in Del Rio, Texas, and Eagle Pass. I was speaking to a family in Del Rio, Texas, that their daughter used to take her bike to the bus stop, because it's a small town. Del Rio is a very safe town. Well, not anymore, because there's a group of illegal alien men that are there in the corner. They don't feel safe. So that has actually changed how they do their daily routine. Even the police, the lieutenant or the DPS has to follow his own daughters to the mall, because to look out for their safety, because there's a bunch of illegals roaming around all over the place. So absolutely, El Paso, where I'm from, my family has told me and friends, they don't go to certain places anymore. I spoke to the DA there, 40% increase in crime. And so, yes, it's affecting, and this ripple effect is affecting not just the border towns, but Dallas, Texas, everywhere inside the country. And we're the ones that have no power to it, right? We're still doing our routines. We still want to take our kids to soccer practice. We started paying our bills, but then all of a sudden we start becoming victims of crimes, maybe just a property crime, but that's how it starts. And it's at that point, it's too late. When it feels horrible when you become a victim at a crime, even a small crime like that, you're like, wait a minute, this is kind of it's an invasion of our public safety. And this is where I think that I don't understand the left, how they can oppose this, because everyone that I talk to, left or right, we all want to be safe in our communities. We all want to pay lower prices. We all want to have that economic impact favor us, but yet they still vote on the other side. It makes no sense to me.
Well, I suppose, as it is with all things, once there is a personal situation and they're personally impacted and they lose a loved one, as we watch others, maybe they will think differently and actually do something effective to help save America. Victor, thank you so much for being with us. I sure appreciate you and all you're doing. Where people can find you on Twitter, of course, all the time. You're involved in so many great things that are going on to secure the border, regardless of what the federal government is doing. Keep up the great work. Appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Gosh. Okay. Well, I think the mister is going to be coming back in. I think we're having some technical difficulties today. I'm so disappointed. We're going to have to bring Dr. Judy Mikovitz back in with you guys at another time, sadly, because we are about to the limit of our day today. I want to just share with you a project that we're involved in that I think is going to be really powerful and encouraging for all of you. It is, I've been talking about it a little bit, and it is because we have so much. Hang on. Okay, sorry. There we go. He's back in. We have so much going on. Thank you. We have so much going on in our country right now. But one thing Victor mentioned was the fentanyl overdoses. And I want to talk about this for just a moment. We've partnered with a company called thefentanyltest.com. And I'm going to I will put that in the comments here. I hadn't done that yet. Sorry. Thefentanyltest.com. And I want you guys to know about this, because this is going to change your life. Everything that we're doing right now needs to be about empowering ourselves. We cannot wait for the cavalry to come and save us. We can't do that. We are the cavalry. We are the ones we've been waiting for. And so we have to do all that we can to secure and protect our own I mean, this is just what we have to do. So we don't have any choice anymore. So here's what I want everybody to do. I want you to go to it's called The Fentanyl Test. Let me see if I can get this to show up. Yes, down at the bottom, Save a Life. Okay, it's thefentanyltest.com. Save a Life. Save a Life is going to put you in touch with our people, and they're going to take care of you. What this is a harm mitigation test. So whether or not you have loved ones in your life that are using any kind of drugs, period. I mean, let's just face it. We had Tylenol issues even where Tylenol was laced with fentanyl. We've lost too many children being poisoned by fentanyl who just took a pill that they thought was just going to be something for a headache or something for sinuses or whatever, not knowing what it was and not knowing that it was laced with fentanyl. And 2 grams of fentanyl, by the way, will kill you. I mean, this is not a lot. And Neil, this is more your area, but I really want people to understand you have the power to have these tests on hand to check everything that's coming in and out of your home, to empower your children to carry this around with them if something should come up. Let's face it, the stories I have heard about children being poisoned is because they got in a situation with other friends and they were pressured. And my thought simply is this, that things are going to happen. And unfortunately, sometimes our kids are not going to be able to withstand the pressure. But I am tired of seeing the stories of 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 9-year-olds dropping dead from fentanyl poisoning when they have access to these tests. These are super cheap. You can keep these in your home, put one in your kids' backpack just in case something should ever come up. I just think we need to start empowering ourselves. It's thefentanyltest.com/save-a-life. And they're going to be able to check the product without ruining it. The test will just check the product and see if there's any lace of fentanyl whatsoever, down to just a single little grain of salt. Teeny, teeny, tiny. It will determine whether or not that drug has any fentanyl whatsoever, whether it's a prescription medication. Remember, the majority of our medications are made in China. You guys, the CCP does not have good feelings towards us. They are funneling fentanyl through the cartels into America. 200,000 people died last year from fentanyl poisoning. And so this is an opportunity for you to take back your power there. Also, I want to say, if you are in law enforcement, if you are in government and you've been looking for a solution, a better test that will give you actual court-worthy results, then you need to go to thefentanyltest.com/save-a-life and make a request for a meeting, because this is life-altering. It's life-changing. We took it to the Texas Association of Sheriffs last week, and they were blown away with what's been created here. So the great guys, Jason Shepard, great team at thefentanyltest.com. And I want to encourage everybody to get serious about protecting your loved ones. And, it's a weird situation, especially states that have legalized fentanyl, like Colorado. You can possess 1 gram of fentanyl on your person and not get in trouble. And you have no idea what you're dealing with. This is not fentanyl like what they use for your in the hospitals. This is not that fentanyl, guys. It's not the same thing. So I just want to encourage as many people as possible. You think it can't happen to you, and then you hear Anna Funder and her 15-year-old boy. They did everything right. They were in church 3 days a week. He's a good kid. They're doing everything they're supposed to do, but one instance of pressure. And probably had multiple instances before that. But I'm just saying, it was one moment, changed their lives forever, and they no longer have their 15-year-old son. So anyway, it's super, super critical for us to be on the alert.
Amen, sister. Hey, is Dr. Judy going to be able to join, or is she having?
So she could not. So she's saying 3 o'clock Central Time today. Hopefully we can jump back on here with her. The information she's bringing is critical. And so she's we're going to use a Zoom link with her. She can't use StreamYard, so we're having trouble with that. But I say we pre-record it and we'll run it on Wednesday. So you guys, I apologize. Dr. Judy's not going to be with us today. We will run the interview on Wednesday. And this is a critical conversation because I've had a lot of people call and say, I have long haul COVID. What can I do? What do I do? I called Dr. Judy and I was like, hey, one of my good friends had said, I didn't know he was struggling with it. And I sent her a message and she said, it's not long haul COVID. There is no such thing. And I was like, wait, what? So we need to discuss this. You need to know exactly what's going on with your body, how you treat it, how you effectively get through it and heal your body. And that's what Dr. Judy's going to go over with us. So we'll get it recorded and we'll play it for you all on Wednesday. We'll be back here 11 o'clock Central Time on Wednesday. Do you have anything more that you want to share with the people before we jump off?
I got to bounce.
All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. God bless you. Watch out for yourself and others. Be brave, be courageous, stand firm. We'll see you guys back here very soon. Bye, everyone.